Welcome back to Just the Tip Jazz with Sean and Justin. Should we do it to him, Justin?
Oh yeah.
2, 3, 4. Whew! I felt the chill there.
That's because we went outside.
We went outside, huh?
It's cold, cool spring breeze today.
Are there things that we can learn from being outside?
You get it, you gotta go outside. You gotta get a big dose of vitamin D.
Big old dose of vitamin D.
Big dose of vitamin D.
What else happens outside?
I mean, it's springtime.
Yeah.
Birds are nesting. You know what I'm saying?
That flowers are pollinating.
Oh, yeah, plants are pollinating. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then those jazz birds are singing.
Oh yeah, but then it gets overwhelming. I mean, there are people outside and cars and bears. So you gotta elements.
Yeah.
Sunburn, mosquitoes,
Snakes.
It's good to come back inside.
Get back in where it's safe. But it was good to go outside for a second there.
It was interesting.
And we're going to show you how to go outside and then get back in.
Yeah, so this is Just the Tip Jazz, in parentheses, Diminished.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
And then in brackets, till the break of dawn.
Yep, exactly.
So,
yeah. So we're going to diminish and chromatic you till the break of dawn.
That's right.
Like only a good jazzman can.
Yeah, so...
Which really, jazz comes down to just chromatics and diminish anyway.
Yeah, I think that, learning to play modally is important and learning how to follow chords is important, but a lot of times if you just want to add some interesting, to your blues or your jazz playing, a diminished run or a chromatic run into something else will, make it sound a little less scaly and a little more interesting. And
for you youngins who are maybe getting into these Just the Tip jazzes for the first time, diminish... Flat 5,
right?
Chromatic, one note at a time.
That's right. And the chord progression that I was playing lead to, that Sean was playing, is from the first Just the Tip that we did. So
exactly.
You can learn how to play that and loop it, and then you can play some of these. So there are 3 licks that we're going to go over in this video, which I know is a lot, but they're all basically the same. So the first one is we're all operating under the impression that we're playing in G, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a diminished run on the flat 9 of the G, right? So what that means is that we have this note here on the 8th fret of the B string, which is G.
Yep.
Okay, the 9 would be the second note, the 2, right? So that's this, here the 10th fret. The flat 9 would be the 9th fret right here.
Which is easy to remember for this exercise.
That's
9th fret,
yeah.
Flat 9.
Unintentional, but excellent.
But that's how we do it.
So the diminished run we're going to do, it involves this, but it actually starts on the 10th fret of the high E, okay? The interesting thing about a diminished chord is that any chord or any note could be the root, right? Because they're all equal distance away.
Diminished 7th chord, yeah, for sure.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the 10th fret here. We're going to go to the 7th fret here, right? So both on the high E. And then we're going to go to that flat 9 we talked about right here. And then we're going to go to the 10th fret. We're going to repeat the same shape from the high E except on the G string. So 10, 7. What does it sound like? Kind of weird, kind of out there, especially out of context.
Yeah, we went outside.
Right. Now, and this is not a hard and fast rule, this is just sonically what I like, since I'm using a diminished run from a half step up on this 9th, I'm going to use my leading tone as the major 7 back into the G, right? So a half step right here on the 7th fret. Why? Well, because we're coming from below with this diminished run, the leading tone is nice to come sonically from above. And when I mean above, like, is a higher, higher fret, not
I'm
a higher
with you on
pitch.
that. I'm the king of the major 7 fan club.
Right.
So you don't got to convince me.
So the idea is that we come in, and then how you want to approach it is up to you, but the easiest way would just to be 7, 8.
It's down a string.
It's nice, right? So I mean, even if you're doing like a blues bend and you're like, so you don't have to do it all in one run. You can take your time, you know what I mean? Right? Which that might have been...
Sometimes it's good to take your time.
I hope we get a Salty Blues comment because that was probably the worst bend I've ever done. I missed the first time, so...
I could edit it out.
No, don't. I love it. I love it.
All right.
So the other way that I like
Not that I would ever edit out my own mistakes.
No. Actually, it's funny because if you watch our videos, a lot of times you're like, oh, don't worry, I'll edit it out, but you leave my mistakes in.
Has that happened?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny, and people point it out. They're like, you didn't edit that out. Okay, so anyhow, the other way that you can use this very same exact shape is from the major 7 of your key. Okay, so again, even though it's this note on the 7th fret, we have to start on the 8th fret of the high E, right? Same shape as before, right? So it's 8-5, hit the 7th note here, and then 8-5 on the G string. So, but since we're using this diminished run, a half step above fret-wise, but sonically it's lower, right? So since we're gonna approach using the 9, right, which is the 10th fret. So back to the G. So 10A, right?
And that's actually good because it's kind of like a bigger interval jump,
right?
Which is another jazz kind of calling card.
Yeah, it's sonically interesting. And another thing you can do is you can link these together. So when you play this first one, it doesn't really sound that musical. That's because you have to find the phrasing and the timing, right? And I think a lot of, like, if you think about, like, you know, Django Reinhardt, like, one of my favorite things about him is his, like, staccato playing, which I'm not very, you know, good at, but it's at, like, you know, like that kind of. So we're using these shapes and we're alternating around. So the third and final lick is going to involve a hidden diminished shape and a chromatic run. This is my favorite one. It's a little more advanced, but it's great. So we're going to start here, which would be the 6th of the G major scale, right? E.
Relative minor. A lot of people know it.
That's right. And we're actually going to use a sharp 5 to slide into it. But it's very important that it's not a slide. It's... You have to
establish it.
Excellent. Yeah. Establish that sharp 5. We're outside.
It's like when I go out in nature, I announce to nature that I am here.
Right.
When I'm
actually,
outside.
no, this is a mosquito announcing that, hey, you're out in nature.
Yeah.
Get back inside. Abandon
you made
ship.
a terrible mistake.
Yeah, this is sunburn and mosquitoes, okay? So, and then we're going to hit the C right here on the 13th fret of the B string. And then the A right here on the 10th fret of the B string. So we have... And then we're going to use the G, 12th fret, and then 11th fret, the major 7. So we have... So far it sounds like the major 7 and that sharp 5 make it sound a little jazzy, but right? So what we're going to do is we're going to hit this 13th fret on the D string, and we're going to walk this chromatically. So we have... Right? So 13, 12, 11, 10, right? Now here's the hidden shape. Right?
Oh yeah.
There's that diminished. It's there. But now it's not just like, hey, I'm playing a diminished run and coming back. It's...
It was there. Did you see it?
Right. So you can do infinite things with this. This is you know, something to play with. So you can... Right? So all I did was the 13, right? 13th fret of the D string, 11th fret of the G string, 10th fret of the B string, 12th fret of the G string. So now we've gone outside. Ooh! See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is how you make yourself sound a little more interesting, right? And granted, this specifically sounds very jazzy. Like if you did this in a rock solo, it may seem out of place.
Right.
So that's up to you to use this shape to figure out the correct phrasing and timing for your chord progression, right?
Sure.
You know? And so again, if Sean plays the chords from the first video, I'll show you. So you have, you know...
2, 3, 4.
So, I mean, it's just about, like, learning, you know, where you can, you know, use these different tones. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a spot for it.
And it's fun. And nothing is more fun than the chromatics.
Right, know? It sounds cool.
Sounds awesome.
In the right context, played expertly like this guy right here. You know, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, again, thank you for joining us. That was Just a Tip Jazz.
Just a Tip Jazz.